If you want to make an amazing impact, you have to build an organization. If you want to make a ton of money, you have to build an organization. If you want to make a good impact, if you want to make good money, then you can be a solo operator or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay. And that's awesome. You can make a really good money. You can even get up into the 7 figures with that. Okay. But if you want to make 8 figures, you've got to build an organization and learn how to delegate into level 3.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Carrot Cast. Now, the Carrot Cast, we're usually diving in doing interviews with amazing real estate investors, amazing real estate agents. Now, in these episodes, every Thursday, they're the Trevor Truck Talks, where you get to hear behind the scenes of the mindset shifts I'm going through as a CEO of one of the fastest growing companies in America, and the mindset shifts you can take to run your business and win back your freedom as well. Let's dive into this episode.
Alrighty, so my voice is getting a little bit hoarse. I was on a family vacation this past couple weeks and might have caught a little bug, but I'm going to kick this bug really fast. Going to drink tons of water, going to drink green juice. It's going to be gone in a day or two. So bear with the hoarse voice, the Barry White voice here, okay? So I'm getting ready to head into the coffee shop to get some work done, and one thing that's popped up in my mind a lot as I'm coaching and teaching my leaders and my team how to do this better, and as I myself am learning how to do it better too, is the topic of delegation. And at Carrot Camps, that's one topic that comes up a lot, is people are overwhelmed with work. People have too many tasks on their plate. And I want you guys and gals listening to this, agents and investors, if you're a one-woman, one-man show, amazing. This is going to be insanely relevant for you. If you are a team and you have a team of 3, 4, 5, 6 people, then this can be even more relevant for you as well. Okay, so let me toss this your way. Do you ever feel like you're overwhelmed with a lot of tasks that you get to the end of the week and you go, man, I feel like I did a lot of work, but I just don't feel like I made progress on the important stuff? Or do you ever feel like you have when you sit down to write your daily task list that it's 10, 20, 30 things, and you're just looking at it going, how the heck am I ever going to do this? Do you ever feel like you created a business that you're trapped in that you don't enjoy anymore because you're busy now and you don't actually have the time to invest in, and you don't have the freedom to invest into the things that you thought that you would when you started the business, or you thought you would when you got your agent license? If you're feeling any of that stuff, you likely need to delegate better, okay? And you might be saying, Trevor, I am delegating. I'm still feeling that way. Well, here's the thing. If you're growing, if you're growing your business, it's never going to go away. Okay. It's never going to go away. And in this podcast episode, I'm going to talk with you about the 3 levels of delegation. And the levels of delegation change over time. Okay. The levels of delegation change as your business grows. They change as your needs grow. And what I'm going to talk about is those 3 levels. And you're going to peg which level are you in and what level do you need to focus on delegating well. And I'll give you a few tips on how to do that. Okay. So the first thing is when let's say you're by yourself, you're a solo operator, or you have 1 to 8 people, okay? This could be full-time employees, this could be contract workers, could be whatever, okay? So let's say it's you or up to 8 people on your team that work for you, okay? So this doesn't include if you're a broker and you have 8 agents underneath you, okay? I'm talking like employees who are employees of your organization. Okay, so at that point, what you're needing to do is delegate tasks. Okay, and that's really it. So you're delegating tasks. Once you get up to 6, 7, 8 people, you might start to go up into this next level of delegation, which is projects. But I'm going to focus on tasks right now. And at this level, delegating tasks is pretty simple. You already know what needs to be done. Okay, you already have a plan, and you already have a list of things that need to be done. And then you're circling items on the list that you don't want to do or that you're not good at doing, and that you'd much rather have someone else do that are lower value that you shouldn't spend the time on doing. Okay, so this could be reading your email. This could be scheduling that appointment with that buyer. This could be whatever it is. It could be setting up your Google pay-per-click account or campaign. It could be following up on buyer leads. It could be any number of things, right? Starting escrow with the title company, whether you're an investor or an agent. It could be a number of those things that just need to get done, but are not insanely high value as far as the actual act of doing that thing. It's not hard to call a title company and set up escrow, right? So what you need to do at that point is prioritize those things, take the energy out of it, go to carrot.com/energy and take the energy out of every single quarter. And that's going to help guide you on delegating the right types of tasks that give you things that give you energy and take away things that take away energy. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to find somebody who you can delegate this to. And here's how you're going to delegate it. Okay. You're going to delegate it by doing this. You're going to say, number one, let me write down the thing and the outcome that I want to have happen. You need to do that task. Okay. Go do the task, go start an escrow, go call a buyer, call a seller, whatever it is. And then you need to create a training showing you how you did the task. Okay. You could use a tool like loom.com, LOOM.com. You could use, like this. I'm just using voice recorder on my iPhone. You could have the person be there in person, have them record you. You could write it down and write steps and put it on Google Documents or something like that. But you need to document the process for doing the thing up to the standard that you want. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is they have a task that they need delegated and they do it all the time, but then they hire someone and say, hey, can you go figure this thing out? I've made that mistake as well. Where I already know how to do this thing and do it at a really high level. But then I hire someone, I don't create the time to create a really, really good process that I can give them and have them now deliver the same result over and over again. And they fail through trying to figure it out themselves the same way you did a year, 2, 3, 4 years ago. Okay. And that doesn't work. And I've done that. And I noticed the other day one thing that hopped up, I'm like, shoot, I did it again. I did it with my new marketing leader. I didn't document something that's important for him to know. And so now that's where I'm spending some time today doing that. Okay, so that's the first level. If you're a solo operator or up to 8 people, you're delegating tasks. You need to write down the thing, take the energy out of it, write down the things that drain the energy the most for you and that are lower level. Okay, create a process for each one of those things and document it with a Loom video or a Google Doc or something like that. Okay, then you need to go out and find the person. You can find them in person locally, or you can find them on Upwork.com or something like that. Okay, and then what you need to do, the communication cadence is you need to have them send you a note every single day. If they're a full-time worker or VA that works mostly for you, okay, and have them send this email or Slack message to you. Have them tell you, hey, here's what I did today. Here's what blocks popped up. And here's what questions I have. Those 3 things. Here's what I did today at the end of every day. At the end of every day that they're working for you. Here's what I did today. Here's what blocks came up that I need help with. And here's what questions I have. Okay, so the reason you have them send that through is because we oftentimes delegate over to people and we say, well, we don't want to meddle in things. We don't want to micromanage. And so what happens is the person feels like, okay, the person's busy. My boss is busy. They hired me to get this stuff done. I don't want to bug them with all these questions. Otherwise, they're going to think that I don't know what I'm doing and they're going to think I'm incompetent. And then it ends up going 1, 2, 3 weeks later, you end up discovering that either the result of that task that you delegated was not good and you have to do all the work over again, or they had so many questions that they were actually stumbling their way through something that should have taken a third of the time, but ended up taking 3 times as long because they had questions and they were afraid to ask you. So this email or Slack message actually gives them the open invitation to say, communicate with me. Anytime anything's blocking you, hit me with it. And I'm going to be looking for that email or Slack message at the end of every day. And I'm going to support you. I'm going to coach you through it. And I'm going to give you the resources. And what you're going to find is over time, you're coaching them, you're helping them. And they're going to have less and less questions. They're going to soar. And now they're going to be able to tackle this stuff even better. Okay, so that is the process right there. So you do the energy audit. You write down the things that drain your energy the most. You create the processes for those 1 or 2 things. You find the person who can do those things. You give them the processes. You give them clear timelines. You give them the resources. And then you ask them, send me an email or Slack every day with these 3 things on it. What did I accomplish today? What blocks did I experience? And what questions do I have? Okay, so that's delegation of tasks. And you can do that up to 6, 7, 8 people. But once you're delegating to 8 people or so, then you're going to be blocked. You're going to be big time blocked where you're not going to be able to get your own work done. And that's where you then need to start delegating up to the second level, which is projects. So now projects is essentially the same thing. We're delegating tasks, but you're delegating multiple tasks to one person. And a project is essentially multiple tasks wrapped into one effort. It's multiple tasks wrapped up into one effort that's managed by somebody, and ideally not managed by you. Okay. So for projects, it's similar to the task one. You need to outline and become clear on the outcome. So I want you to write down, what is the outcome of this project? Okay. Is there a result? Is there a number you're trying to hit? If you're trying to delegate someone setting up your carrot site, find an example of an amazing looking carrot site that you really, really like, and send them the link and say, this is the outcome I'd like. Like, this site here is one that I'd like for you to emulate. And I'd like for you to get on one of the carrot coaching calls and hop on the onboarding session for me and tell them you really like this site. And here's the 4 elements of the site I really like. And hey, Mr. and Mrs. Person I'm delegating to, here's my bio that I wrote, and here's some pictures, and here's a Google Drive folder with all the resources and assets you're going to need for the site. Here's the timeline I'd love for it to be on. Is there any questions you have? Are there any resources you need to do this? About how much time do you think it's going to take? Okay, that's fair enough. Cool. And then when should we communicate about the progress of this? So that's essentially delegating a project, right? Because that person has a lot of tasks in that. They've got to write content. They've got to make adjustments to the site. They've got to hop on a coaching call. They've got to, put in this, put in that, attach the domain. So there's a bunch of tasks in there, okay? But that one person is going to manage all those tasks. And what you need to do in order to manage that well is here's a communication cadence, right? Number 1, you need to write down, we call them one-page plans. You need to write down clearly what outcomes you want. So you need to align on outcomes first. Okay. It's not just the how to do the task. You need to align on the outcomes. And ideally that person figures out how to do the task, or you can coach them if you know how to do them. Okay. So align on outcome first. We do something called a one-page plan where we write down what's the outcome, what's the result we're trying to have, what's the timeline, what resources are likely needed. You and that person can sit down together and work out the one-page plan. So you guys are both aligned. And I call this the 10-80-10 process. You work with them in the first 10% to get alignment on the outcome. So you guys are all clear. Hey, the outcome is exactly what you want as a person delegating the project. They're very clear on what you want. You guys all look at it and kind of tease through any questions that pop up, and you can work on those questions right away. And then you say, awesome, you're ready to go. Here's a timeline, here's a date, here's a deadline, here's your resources. And now there's a communication cadence. And that communication cadence is this. On a project, if it's a project that lasts, let's say, two weeks or more, have them just update you weekly, or maybe twice a week if it's a newer employee. If it's a newer employee, maybe have them update you daily doing that thing. Here's what I accomplished. Here's what blocks I have. Here's what questions I have. So you can still have them do the daily email update on a project like that, okay? And maybe I would for the first 1, 2, 3 projects with a newer person, just so I can see how they're working and we can get through any of that training and projects and process. So have them do that, the daily email, the daily Slack with those 3 questions from the first level of delegation, okay? But then as you get more experience with them, it's probably going to be like a weekly update on Monday morning. Hey, is this red, yellow, or green? Red means it's not going to happen on time unless this block gets removed. Yellow means it's probably going to happen on time still, but there's something that could put it at risk and I need help. And green means it's fully a go. We're on track. I don't really need any help at all. And just ask them, is this red, yellow, or green? And if it's red, you need to immediately drop what you're doing and help them solve it. If it's yellow, same thing. If it's green, pat them on the back, maybe look at the project, ask a couple questions, and then let them go. Okay, so that's pretty much it when you're delegating projects. Now you can delegate projects to 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So now all of a sudden, rather than 8 people doing 8 tasks, now you can have, let's say, 5 people doing 40 tasks because they're wrapped into a bunch of projects. And now your communication cadence is a weekly touch point with each of them, red, yellow, green. And then if it's red or yellow, you help them solve it. If it's green, you pat them on the back, ask a couple questions to make sure that it is on track, and you go. Okay. So that right there is going to take you from like 8 employees to, let's say, 20, 25 maybe. You can delegate projects in that way. And then you're probably going to need to have a manager around the 15 mark, maybe 20 mark, who manages multiple employees. And that manager needs to be really, really good at projects. Okay. Because you're going to delegate outcomes and projects to them. And then they're going to be giving you the weekly updates all the time. But then once you get over 25 employees or so, which I understand most of you probably will never hit this, have no desire to hit this, but I can tell you, as your business gets bigger, that's where impact gets bigger. And I know I was scared of a big team. I never wanted more than 10, 15. When I started this company, I said, Carrot's probably going to max out at 8 to 12 people, because that was my own limiting beliefs. My own limiting beliefs were telling me I could not handle a company bigger than that. My own limiting beliefs were telling me that having a lot of employees was a burden. My own limiting beliefs were telling me that having $1 million a year, payroll, which I have a multiple $1 million a year payroll, is scary and is very risky. And I can also tell you that my company would not be doing over $10 million a year without a big team. I would tell you, I would not be making the impact. We would not be making the impact with this company without a big team. I can be telling you that the income that I'm making as the entrepreneur would be nowhere near the income without a big team. So if you want to make an amazing impact, you have to build an organization. If you want to make a ton of money, you have to build an organization. If you want to make a good impact, if you want to make good money, then you can be a solo operator or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay. And that's awesome. You can make a really good money. You can even get up into the 7 figures with that. Okay. But if you want to make 8 figures, you've got to build an organization and learn how to delegate into level 3. Okay. So level 3 is delegating results. So let's recap. Level 1, delegating tasks. Level 2, delegating projects. Level 3, delegating results. And how is this different? Well, once you get up north of, let's say, $5 million a year, you need to start having leaders, and you start getting bottlenecked. You as the founder become the largest bottleneck in the company, where people keep coming to you for answers. People keep coming to you for decisions. People keep coming to you because you've locked so much of the results and decisions in your mind, or the strategy in your mind, and you don't have the right people on board, or you haven't elevated the right people to be able to make the right decisions. And so you become the bottleneck, and growth stalls, and your work becomes miserable, and you start to not like your work anymore. Then you self-sabotage your business because you're like, this isn't what I wanted to create. And then your business starts to go downhill. You get distracted. You go look at another business, and then it implodes. Then you restart everything in 2 to 3 years. Okay. That is the cycle I've seen happen so many times, and I've even done it myself. All right. And so how do you delegate results? Well, I'm not speaking this from a point of expertise of me being the best in the world at this. I'm speaking this from a point of, I'm a lot better at it today than I was 5 years ago, but I have a long way to go still. All right. So delegating results essentially is 10-80-10. You get really, really clear on the outcome. Hey, I want this result to happen. I want to have this many deals come in. I want to have this many leads come in. I want to, have this net profit in the business. I want to develop these 3 properties and have them have this outcome of a net positive cash flow. Those are outcomes. Okay. And then if your business is big enough, you find the person who knows how to deliver that outcome. So if you're looking to get 10 leads a week, 10 seller leads a week, motivated seller leads a week, and you have a team that's big enough, and it doesn't make sense for you to go in and do all those tasks. Okay. If you're a solo operator and you want to get those, then you probably need to roll up your sleeves and learn how to do it. Right. And then as you get too busy, you document how you did it, and then you delegate the task for someone else to do it. And then you delegate the project for someone to run your paid ads. Okay. And then eventually, if you wanted to, you delegate the result, which is you tell someone, get 10 leads a week that are under this cost, and here's the budget you have to do it. Okay. And then you go hire the person. And then the communication cadence is the same thing. You create a scorecard. Okay. A scorecard is, hey, here's the leads we said we want to get every week. Here's the costs we said that we needed to get them under. Here's the budget you have to do it. Report those 3 or 4 numbers on a scorecard to me every single week, so we can see how we're doing towards that. And then same thing, have them red, yellow, green those. Shoot, we're red. We're off track of this number. When you see that each week on Monday, ask them, awesome. So what are you doing to get that back on track? And now this is your job as a leader, is to not tell them the answer. And this is where I've been having to learn a lot. And this is where delegating projects versus results is the biggest leap, is when you delegate results, you try not to give answers, you ask questions. When you're delegating tasks or even projects, oftentimes you're gonna give answers, okay? Because that's the fastest path to result. But when you're delegating results, you have to ask questions, because the result needs to be their result, not yours. You get alignment on what the result is you need for the business. Okay, you ask them what resources they need to do so. You create a scorecard and have them report it weekly. You have them red, yellow, green it. Any reds and yellows, you ask them, what are you doing to get it back on track? Can you give me a plan to do that by tomorrow at the end of the day? Can you give me a plan to do that by Friday at the end of the week? Okay, you review it, ask them questions. If you see it's off a little bit, hey, have you looked at this? What factors or data did you look at to come up with this here? Are there any resources you need to make this happen? What timeline do you think it'll take to get this back on track? Awesome. Okay, let them go, let them report. If you see the trend going off, then you ask them again, this is a couple, 3 weeks in a row that we're not on track. What do you need to do to get back on track? If you feel like you're just not confident they can do it, then point it out. Hey, I'm kind of getting the feeling that you might not really know how to do this well. Is that true, or am I kind of picking up something that's not there? If it is true and they don't know how to do it well, you have to decide, do I want to train them up to it? Do I need to exit them from the business and find someone who can do it? Okay, that's delegating results. What oftentimes happen with us entrepreneurs, I've done this so many times, this is the biggest thing I'm working on right now as a leader, is we'll delegate to someone that we really believe in. They're a smart person, an awesome person. They might be an amazing core value match. Okay. And then you kind of ignore the results. You ignore that it's been read for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. And you don't have the hard conversation. And then you know how to fix it. So you actually go in and fix it. And you say, well, the reason it's not working is because this. And so this is the thing that you need to change. You just need to change this thing here, make this adjustment there. And then what does that do, guys? You bought yourself a job again. Okay, now you are actually the one driving that, but you're paying someone well to deliver a result, but they're not delivering the result. You are, which makes you an even greater bottleneck, which makes it so that person actually is not empowered to do their work, or they might not be the right person to do their work, which means you get overwhelmed, you become a bottleneck, the business gets stodgy and stagnant because you are the bottleneck. Guys, I'm saying this from experience because I am that person in a few parts of the business right now. Okay, and I've been that person in hundreds of parts of the business over the years that I have been able to delegate out. Okay, so if you found yourself trying to delegate results, and you're having those conversations, the results aren't happening, and you're not having the tough conversation of, hey, it seems like for 4 weeks in a row, we're just not hitting this. I'm kind of getting this weird feeling that you might not know how to do this. Am I true in that, or is there something else that's kind of causing this? Okay, dig into it. If they keep on not hitting the result, just say, hey, can we agree that this isn't working out because we both said we wanted this result here. It seems like we're not on the track, and I'm really wanting to have someone who can drive this result, who knows how to do it proactively. So it looks like this isn't a fit. And then part ways with them and find someone who can do it, or train that person if you feel that they can do it. But the thing you cannot do is step in there and do their work for them. The thing you cannot do is if it's not working, have you bring the plan to make it work again. Even if you know the plan, because you are now going to be the person that is always going to be driving strategy on that, and you're going to be the bottleneck, and you're going to feel overwhelmed with your work because you delegated that kind of, but not really, okay, because you saved the day. And they're going to expect you to save the day all the time now. They're going to come to you for every little decision because they might not be the right person or have the right training to even do that well. Okay. So guys, those are the 3 levels of delegation. And I talked to you about the communication cadence, how to do that well. And I want you guys to think about that. If you're a solo operator up to 8 people, you should be delegating tasks. Okay. Ask them those 3 questions, have them send it to you every single day, document the process and how to do it and give it to them. If you're between 8 people, maybe even 6 people to 20 or so, 25, you're probably delegating projects mainly. Okay. And with that, you need to do the 10-80-10. 10-80-10 is you get insanely clear on the outcomes. Okay, what outcome are we wanting to have? Be very clear with it. Give them the exact example, or do the math with them. Do the 1-page plan with them so you're very clear with them on the outcomes. And then have them report to you at least weekly, but probably every day doing that 3-question thing. Here's my progress on this project. Here's what we accomplished. Here's what blocks I have or questions I have. Okay, red, yellow, green it every Monday. How are you doing? Red, yellow, green. If it's red or yellow, take immediate action to help them unblock it. If it's green, pat them on the back, ask a couple of questions, and let them move on. Okay, if you're 20 plus people, you're probably going to start to need to delegate results now, which means you need to go higher up the pay scale. You need to go for people who have been there, done that, likely. And then you need to 10-80-10 it, get really clear on the outcomes. You need to then create a scorecard that tracks the outcomes. You need to review their plan or create a plan with them, okay? To where if you're an expert on the thing, you should be creating a plan with them, 1080 it, right? And then create the scorecard. Communication cadence is them reporting to you every Monday or Tuesday, the scorecard numbers, red, yellow, green them as well. If it's red or yellow, too many weeks in a row, 3 to 4 weeks in a row, you need to ask them, 2 to 4 weeks in a row, hey, it looks like these are heading the wrong direction. What's your plan to get them back on track? You don't go in there and solve it. Have them deliver you a plan. Look at the plan, ask them questions to make sure it's the right stuff. Give them another 2, 3, 4 weeks. If it keeps on happening, ask them again and then say, hey, it looks like this isn't working out. What's your plan? Are you confident you can get this? If you feel confident they can get it, coach them into it, give them a little more time. If not, replace them, find someone else. Okay? Encourage them. Give them incentives if you need to. Okay, but delegating results is far different than delegating tasks. So hopefully this episode, this little micro master class in delegation, hopefully it's useful for you. I'll probably do a video on this someday soon. But guys and gals, I want you guys to buy back more of your time, buy back more of your energy. Take the energy audit, go to carrot.com/energy. That kicks off the entire process. The energy audit does. Okay, that kicks off the whole process. So carrot.com/energy. Do the energy audit, figure out what you need to start delegating today. If you're in, figure out which level of delegation you're in, which one you're needing. And then either way, even if you're in level 3, that means you need to be teaching your leaders now how to delegate at level 1 and at level 2, because they are where you used to be. Okay, if you're 20 plus employees, you have people who need to learn how to delegate at level 1. You have people who need to learn how to delegate at level 2. All right, guys. So guys, have an amazing rest of the week. Carrot Camp slots are open. They might be sold out by now. I don't know. But go to carrotcamp.com and get on the waiting list for the next one if it is sold out. Or if it's not sold out, you're going to actually see a page that's going to allow you to apply. If you can apply on there, it means that there's still tickets available. So get applications in. We're changing lives every single Carrot Camp, y'all. Every Carrot Camp, not just businesses are changed, but lives are changed. Go to carrotcamp.com and also go to carrot.com/evergreen if you want to learn how or delegate this to someone. Delegate it to a team member of yours. Have them go to carrot.com/evergreen to learn how to stack on evergreen marketing into your business, to scale it without scaling your time and get more momentum in your business. All right, guys. Talk soon. I'm going to send this podcast now to Brady on my team, who I have delegated the outcomes of this podcast for. I do the content. He is responsible for the results of the podcast, not me. And he is going to nail this podcast. He's grown the podcast. He has increased the quality of the podcast. He is doing amazing work, and I'm trying to be a better and better leader. But Brady, appreciate you, man. And guys and gals, start delegating more today.